Well, it looks like Ryan Reynolds is looking to get dismissed from the lawsuit and I guess abandon his wife to just go through it alone.
Ryan Reynolds just legally ditched Blake Lively and walked away from the lawsuit like he never knew her.
Now, this case is now, I think, already been dismissed, right, Ron? So this has already been filed and done with the date of September 27th in New York.
Blake, on the other hand, lit the legal fire herself, then fanned the flames with fake lawsuits, stolen texts, and shameless PR games.
And is really going to expose Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds for the conniving people that they are.
All to destroy Justin Baldoni, and now it's all crashing down.
This is what one headline says. Ryan Reynolds' rep calls him the man Justin Baldoni built his brand pretending to be in fiery new statement.
So guess what Ryan Reynolds did on March 18th, 2025? Oh, nothing big. He just threw Blake Lively under the legal bus, slammed the door shut, and then waved from the rear window like, "Good luck with that, babe." That's right. Ryan's lawyers officially filed a motion to dismiss him from the Justin Baldoni lawsuit. Translation? I want out. Let her handle the dumpster fire.
These the games y'all are playing now.
And the best part? His legal argument is just chef's kiss level petty. They're claiming that Ryan calling Baldoni a predator in private conversations is protected by the First Amendment. As in, it's not defamation, it's just spicy free speech.
And his legal team filed a motion to dismiss Baldoni's complaint against the actor, arguing that It Ends With Us director-actor's claims have no merit, as the lawsuit focuses on Reynolds allegedly calling Baldoni, 41, a predator.
You know, freedom of expression, but make it legally weaponized. Meanwhile, Blake is still out here flailing with subpoena receipts and 800-page pity essays, and Ryan's like, I just said a thing. I didn't mean to start the Hunger Games.
According to Reynolds' attorneys, Mike Gottlieb and Ezra Hudson, that doesn't legally qualify as defamation.
But wait, his lawyers weren't done. They threw a little side-eye at the rest of us too. Yep, they said this case should be comforting to a group of people who've repeatedly called Mr. Reynolds and Miss Lively bullies. Oh, so now we're dragging content creators into this? What? For pointing out that Blake's been acting like the Regina George of Hollywood with a legal degree?
Mr. Reynolds has a First Amendment right to express his opinion of Mr. Baldoni, which should be comforting to a group of people who have repeatedly called Miss Lively and Mr. Reynolds bullies.
And then there's this whole mess with Nice Pool, Ryan's Deadpool knockoff that is so clearly a cartoon version of Justin Baldoni, it's embarrassing. The character looks like Baldoni, talks like Baldoni, has his same backstory, and, wait for it, gets killed off. But Ryan's lawyers still have the audacity to say Baldoni is just being thin-skinned. That's like Blake lighting a match in a forest and then blaming the wind for the wildfire.
Spokesperson for Reynolds dismissed Baldoni's lawsuit as an attempt to go after an actor for living the very values Baldoni claims to stand for. The claims filed against Mr. Reynolds are simply a list of grievances.
Let's call it what it is. Ryan saw the ship sinking and noped out of there faster than you can say Nice Pool 3. He doesn't want anything to do with Blake's mess. And honestly, who can blame him? Now let's talk about Van Zandt Inc., because this part is honestly so shady. It needs its own noir soundtrack.
Any lawyer will tell you you do not file a complaint if you don't know the name of the person that you are suing, unless you're trying to protect that person's identity for some reason, which if you're pissed off enough to sue them, you probably don't care about their identity.
On September 27th, company called Van Zandt Inc. suddenly pops out of nowhere and files a lawsuit. And guess whose names are attached? None other than Ryan Reynolds and, wait for it, Blake Reynolds. Yep, Blake Lively's legal name. Girl gave herself a corporate villain name and didn't even try to hide it.
If this is such a mistake and impossible and not appropriate and going to get them in trouble, why would they have done it?
But here's the real kicker. The lawsuit doesn't name any real defendants. It literally uses placeholders like John Doe and Jane Doe. Like, what is this? A courtroom version of Mad Libs? It's a whole fake case with no real people in it, and somehow we're supposed to take it seriously?
This Van Zandt versus the John Does is clearly a Blake Lively lawsuit, but clearly was filed without anybody's actual name to skirt the issue and try to get this more secretive. Now,
And the cherry on top? The lawsuit was dismissed. And why does that matter? Because 2 days later, the New York Times article drops, blasting Baldoni and making Blake look like the innocent princess who was wronged by Hollywood's villain. Coincidence? Please. That lawsuit was just the setup, a subpoena Trojan horse.
that would be an abusive process, and we intend to take all action allowable under the law, as you're saying, echoing what you're saying.
This wasn't about justice. It was a PR stunt wrapped in legal paper. They threw together a bogus lawsuit just long enough to issue subpoenas and dig for dirt. The fact that the case never even mentioned sexual harassment once? Dead giveaway. It wasn't about the truth. It was about getting their hands on texts they had no right to.
Use misinformation and disinformation, which I've kind of started to realize that people love to use that when they just don't have a proper argument that they can articulate.
Which brings us to the absolute fever dream known as Subpoena-gate. Oh, buckle up, because this part is straight up illegal if it's proven. So allegedly, Blake's little behind-the-scenes buddy, Stephanie Jones, gets her hands on Jennifer Ailes' phone. How? Using Celebrite software, a tool used in criminal investigations. Like, you don't use Celebrite to check your texts from your mom. You use it to crack locked phones in FBI cases. This is serious tech, not some spyware from the App Store.
The entire thing that started this lawsuit and the explosive text messages that were included in the original New York Times article were text messages that were stolen off the phone of Jennifer Abel by her employer named Stephanie Jones.
So, what does Stephanie do? She allegedly extracts private messages between Jennifer Ailes and Melissa Nathan, two women she just so happened to have personal beef with. And instead of calling a lawyer, she allegedly sends those texts straight to Blake's PR team. Yeah, this is sounding real professional, right? Now here's the juicy bit. This all happened before any official case had been filed. There was no legal justification for taking or reading those messages. Zero. Nada. But did that stop Blake's team from using them? Of course not. Those texts became the core of the New York Times expose, which dropped on December 21st, and now Blake's out here trying to act like it all just magically aligned in her favor? Girl, please. We know what you did last legal quarter.
They, being Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, alleged that they issued the subpoena to Stephanie Jones.
And let's not forget the most laughable part of this scheme. When they realized they couldn't legally use the stolen texts, they allegedly went back and tried to create a retroactive subpoena to make it all look legit. That's like robbing a bank and then walking in the next day with a forged withdrawal slip. Just because you printed a form doesn't mean you didn't commit a crime. If even half of this is true, we're not just talking about bad PR anymore. We're talking felony territory. Blake Lively could go from red carpet royalty to courtroom catastrophe real quick. And Ryan? He's already halfway out the exit door, tossing her a goodbye wave and pretending he doesn't even own a wedding ring.
Her pet project that she started because of her racism, and I think that's going to her plantation wedding. We know about how she donated this money.
So, to recap this flaming circus of desperation, Ryan's bailing, Blake's faking lawsuits, and someone allegedly used military-grade phone hacking tech to dig up gossip texts like it's some kind of 2006 high school drama. Except this time, there are lawsuits. Millions of dollars at stake. Careers on the line. Let's talk about Eric Binder, aka the guy you hire when you need to make a problem disappear, preferably into a shadowy LLC with an address that sounds like the setting of a Wall Street thriller.
Who is Eric Binder? The agent that represents Van Zandt Inc., which we know about that lawsuit, the sham lawsuit and all of that.
This man is not your average accountant. No, Eric Binder is like the fixer character in every scandal drama, except he's real and he knows how to hide dirty secrets behind polished resumes and P.O. boxes.
Eric Binder, LLC laundromat extraordinaire, from CPA to cloak and dagger partner, the fixer behind the filing cabinet.
So, get this. He's the registered agent for Van Zandt Inc. Yes, that sham lawsuit company, Maximum Effort, Ryan Reynolds' marketing brand, and Give Lively, Blake's nonprofit pet project that honestly sounds faker than her shocked face at award shows. That alone should be enough to raise red flags taller than Ryan's ego, but no, it gets messier.
Right after the California Civil Rights Department filing dropped, and just as the New York Times ran its Hollywood hit piece, Binder quietly exited stage left and poof, resurfaced as a partner at ML Management Partners.
Binder supposedly joined ML Management in January 2025, except the company itself says he started in 2020. Meanwhile, his previous firm, one he apparently ran for 15 years, claims he left in February 2025. So, which is it? Is he a time traveler? Did he work at two firms in different dimensions? Or is someone just cooking the timeline to clean up a narrative?
Before he was with ML Management that he just joined in January of this year, but then going back years, he's registered with, he uses the ML Management address in New York.
Let's talk locations. All these shady LLCs, Vans and Inc., Liz Plank LLC, Vision PR, Maximum Effort, and Give Lively are tied to one address, 888 7th Avenue, New York City.
Liz Plank, then Vision PR, which is Leslie Sloan's company.
That's right. The same mysterious building that might as well have a plaque reading, "Welcome to the Blake Lively PR Laundromat." And now here's the kicker. When you search Ryan Reynolds and ML Management on Google, there's nothing. No corporate record, no team photo, no job listing, nada. And yet they're filing care of statements listing him as involved. So either Ryan's got invisibility powers, or they're deliberately keeping things off the books like it's an underground fight club of shady celebrity damage control.
Mr. Baldoni has built his brand pretending to be a man who is confident enough to listen to the women in his life. The statement reads.
Binder's described role is managing where the light doesn't touch, which is basically corporate speak for I clean up rich people's messes. And you're telling me this is the guy behind your innocent little nonprofit and harmless marketing brand? Yeah, right. If you're hiring Binder, you're not organizing bake sales. You're building legal sandcastles hoping the truth never washes in.
Like how Binder was the registered agent for Van Zandt Inc., the ghost company used to subpoena a private phone under a sham lawsuit and unlawfully. Or how he also handled filings for Liz Plank LLC, whose LLC address is the same as Maximum Effort.
But hey, speaking of Binder, let's add another one to the party, shall we? Enter Allison Binder, registered agent for Colleen Hoover's production company, Heartbones Entertainment, launched in January 2023. And guess what? Allison's no rookie. She's a partner at a high-powered entertainment law firm in Beverly Hills, the kind of place where NDAs get signed faster than you can say damage control.
But take note, who is the registered agent there? Allison Binder. Not the same address, but the same last name. I don't know. Is that a coincidence?
Now, is Allison related to Eric? Well, officially, there's no public record confirming it. But let's not act like we're all stupid. The timelines overlap, the last name is identical, and both are connected to the same Hollywood house of mirrors. Colleen Hoover's LLC links to Reynolds and Lively's ecosystem like it was built into the foundation. Suspicious? Try screamingly obvious.
And I was just like, it's registered to the same building, the same place, it's part of the same thing. And it's this big nonprofit charity website, but I did not have any ties to Blake Lively that I could find directly. Well, I did some more sleuthing, and we're going to cover that.
And let's not forget, Hoover's involvement predates the lawsuit. So while everyone thought she was just over there writing sad love stories and prepping for her movie release, she might have been planting herself in a much messier plot.
Among other things, Reynolds argued that it is substantially true that Baldoni is a predator, as Baldoni himself has confessed on podcast appearances to crossing boundaries in his younger days due to his addiction to pornography.
This looks less like collaboration and more like a Hollywood cabal in legal cosplay, with Ryan playing the quiet mastermind, Blake as the crumbling puppet, and the Binders as the puppet masters behind the curtain. I mean, this whole operation feels less like a PR strategy and more like a badly directed spy movie that forgot to cover its tracks.
Or how Maximum Effort, Reynolds' prize baby, also lists Binder as its agent along with Give Lively, Blake's pet nonprofit that was a reaction to people calling her out on her racism.
Now, we've got to talk about one of the pettiest, most humiliating, most high school drama on steroids moments in this whole saga. Yes, I'm talking about the time Blake Lively allegedly made Justin Baldoni stay locked in a damn storage closet during the premiere of It Ends With Us. And no, I'm not joking. This happened at a theater in New York City. A TikToker, because the internet never sleeps, literally went to the location, confirmed there is a basement and a storage closet, and even tried to open it. She was about 2 seconds from getting tackled by security, but she got video evidence.
That specific movie theater did not have a basement, so this was her argument. So I decided to go to New York City myself and visit the movie theater where the premiere happened, and I can 100% confirm, and I'll include the footage here, that there is a basement in that movie theater and there is in fact a storage closet.
And guess what? The closet matches Baldoni's own photo from premiere night. That's right. The photo everyone thought was just a coincidence? Yeah, no. The man was basically held captive in a mop closet while Blake Lively, the star of the film, waltzed around like she didn't just humiliate her own director on the biggest night of his career.
Which I can confirm, and you guys can as well, based on the photos that Justin Baldoni shared from the night of the premiere, that was the storage closet that he was basically held captive in because Blake Lively didn't want to be in the same room as him.
Why? Because she didn't want to be in the same room as him. The pettiness, the ego, the sheer audacity. You're starring in his movie, built off his vision, and instead of showing the tiniest shred of professionalism, you treat the man like a janitor interrupting your photo shoot.
So this is just kind of a small example of how certain people don't want to reckon with actual factual reality, which has always been something strange to me.
This isn't just toxic. It's vindictive on a level only Blake Lively seems capable of achieving. Not only did she allegedly try to ruin Baldoni's reputation through legal manipulation, but she also physically tried to erase him from his own premiere like he was the weird cousin no one talks to at weddings. The level of ego it takes to act like this publicly is mind-blowing. And yet, she's still out here trying to play the misunderstood victim of a media conspiracy. Girl, you didn't just burn the bridge. You locked the builder inside the basement and lit the whole structure on fire. So now we've got storage closets being used as punishment chambers, TikTokers becoming amateur investigators, and an A-list couple playing hide the evidence behind companies with Binder in the name. The deeper you dig, the more it starts to look like an episode of Scandal written by a group chat full of ex-friends and failed lawyers.
Binder is a partner with no website profile, and it's tucked into a company where even the staff have private LinkedIns with names hidden and profiles that can't be opened.
And Blake? She's not even trying to clean it up anymore. She's too busy pretending she's still the lovable blonde from that shampoo commercial. But honey, the only thing you're washing away is your last remaining fan base. Let's talk about Leslie Sloan, the publicist who makes Fixer look like a job at a pottery barn. This woman has been Blake and Ryan's personal spin doctor for years, but what she allegedly pulled during this legal circus goes beyond PR. We're talking straight up criminal adjacent chaos disguised as media management. Here's the tea. After Stephanie Jones allegedly hacked into Jennifer Ailes' phone and grabbed a pile of private texts using Celebrite, the next alleged stop was Sloan. And what does Sloan do when handed illegally obtained messages? Does she pause for ethics? Legal advice? No. She allegedly treats it like a Black Friday sale flyer and blasts it straight into action. The plan? Simple. Take the texts, slap them into a narrative, hand them to the New York Times, and make Blake Lively look like the suffering saint of Hollywood. The only problem? This entire operation is held together by toothpicks, duct tape, and felony-level manipulation. Because here's what really gives the game away. The infamous New York Times article dropped on December 21st, 2024. just 2 days after the bogus Van Zandt lawsuit was dismissed. 2 days. You expect us to believe that a whole investigative expose just magically dropped in perfect sync with the exact narrative Blake's team wanted? Nah, that's not journalism. That's schedule coordination. And let's be honest, Blake's entire California Civil Rights Department complaint is basically just a fancy-looking PowerPoint built on illegally obtained evidence. They wanted to pretend it was a righteous crusade. In reality, it was more like a messy TikTok drama disguised as legal action, with receipts stolen straight from someone else's phone. Now that the plan's been exposed, guess what everyone's doing? Running. Faster than Blake runs from accountability. Stephanie Jones is ghosting the situation. Ryan's filing exit paperwork like he's trying to leave a bad group project. Leslie? Radio silent. And Blake? Oh, she's still standing there, crown half melted, surrounded by smoke, pretending like she's at the Met Gala. Except this time, no one's clapping. Which brings us to the next phase of the collapse. Ryan Reynolds' official I'm out paperwork, filed in March 2025. Honestly, the man didn't just distance himself. He hit eject, grabbed a parachute, and sent a text from the sky that said, "Good luck, Blake." His legal argument? That mocking Justin Baldoni's past addiction to porn was a justified opinion and public discourse. Which, okay, bold move from the guy who made a full movie parody just to blow up Baldoni's likeness in slow motion. But sure, it's just a joke, bro. That's right. Ryan actually argued that Baldoni's lawsuit was just thin-skinned outrage, as if recreating a man's trauma with a prosthetic nose and an exploding body in Deadpool light was just edgy satire. At this point, even the Joker would be like, dude, chill. What's wild is that Ryan never explained why he had to go so hard. If you truly didn't mean to harass someone, why build a whole cinematic character to act it out? Why write dialogue specifically to humiliate him? Why literally kill him on screen? That's not thin-skinned outrage. That's obsession with a budget.
Mr. Reynolds has a First Amendment right to hold Mr. Baldoni or any man who Mr. Reynolds believes sexually harassed his wife in deep disdain, the motion states.
Meanwhile, tabloids and legal insiders are all quietly whispering the same thing. Blake and Ryan aren't living together anymore. They're headed for a split. And you don't need page 6 to confirm it. Ryan's court tone says it all. No more we, no joint statements, no holding hands and matching denim on red carpets. He's distancing himself like she's leaking radiation. And honestly, it tracks. Ryan built a career off being the lovable funny guy, and suddenly he's tied to a lawsuit involving secret subpoenas, PR sabotage, and potential criminal misuse of private data. That's not quirky. That's career-ending if he sticks around too long. So he's doing the smart thing. He's getting out while he still has a brand to protect.
You know, them allegedly living apart and actually divorcing.
Now, let's talk about what's left. Because as this castle of lies collapses, Blake Lively is still out here flinging around 800-page filings like they're gonna save her. Girl, you're not writing a novel. You're trying to dodge legal disaster with paperwork that weighs more than your hair extensions. And here's the funniest part. Even the people who were part of this mess don't want anything to do with it anymore. Stephanie Jones, the alleged hacker who started this whole subpoena saga, literally filed paperwork saying, "I ain't paying for CHHT." You know it's bad when even your alleged co-conspirators tap out and drop you like expired mascara. Meanwhile, Wayfair Studios filed strong oppositions to Blake and Ryan's motions to dismiss and actually won. Imagine getting destroyed in court by the studio you tried to nuke with a smear campaign. At this point, the only thing falling faster than her case is her influence. And let's not forget the moment that screams guilty panic louder than anything else. Blake's shampoo company literally asked the court not to expose their private records. I mean, what's next? Her flat iron filing a restraining order? You know you're in deep when your hair care brand starts begging for mercy. And then there's the cherry on top. Blake was named one of Time magazine's most influential people. Influential in what? Filing lawsuits to distract from a PR disaster? Turning every legal move into an Instagrammable train wreck? At this point, if Time ever updates the criteria to include most creatively destructive, Blake wins in a landslide.
The Time magazine will list you as a civil rights titan because 6 years ago you donated some money.
So now she stands alone. Ryan's gone. The press is turning. The NYT is likely getting tossed from the case. Even her nonprofit, Give Lively, is starting to look like a sarcastic joke. The woman who once strutted down red carpets like she ruled the world is now clutching legal printouts and begging a judge not to open the wrong document. No more fairy dust, no more curated Instagram stories, no more America's sweetheart lighting. Just subpoenas, filing fees, and the very real chance of watching it all come crashing down in public. And Ryan? He'll be on a yacht somewhere, probably sipping gin and muttering, "Glad I dipped when I did." Blake is out here turning their private life into a legal reality show. Hit, like, and subscribe to the channel to get more details on Justin Blake lawsuit.